What does the Canadian political landscape look like right now? Well, it really depends who you ask. If you ask EKOS, the landscape has shifted dramatically and the Liberals are getting close to government territory. Nanos has shown a tightening of the polls, as has Leger. Meanwhile, Abacus has shown a very modest tightening. Here's what their polls look like now versus before January 6th. So let's make something clear. One of these pollsters is not like the others. All of these pollsters but EKOS still showed the CPC in very comfortable majority territory still. Have the polls tightened a bit, just like anyone could have predicted? Yes. But are we back at a single-digit race? Probably not. Throughout this video, I will talk about the polling gap here and explain what the heck is going on. On January 6th, Justin Trudeau announced his resignation as Canada's Prime Minister in the face of massive unpopularity and an internal caucus revolt, for a lack of a better term. Numerous people have announced their bids to replace him, who I will talk about in an upcoming video, and this is an opportunity for the party to pick someone who could put up a better fight against Pierre Poilievre. And in the face of a leadership race, we have seen the polls tighten, as I mentioned above. But as I hinted at before, this is something that everyone saw coming. A lot of anger at the Liberals does stem from the idea of Trudeau having been the Prime Minister for 9 years, and just a general desire for change, not unheard of in Canadian politics. Just to hear him resigning could make some center to center-left Canadians, especially many anxious about the situation between Canada and America, loosely think that they are going to park their support behind the Liberals for the time being. The fact is, a honeymoon period of sorts is to be anticipated for the party, with the excitement of a leadership race, and don't be surprised if we see it further tightening after March 9th when the new Prime Minister is selected. Don't believe me? Let's look at some history. In 1993, Brian Mulroney resigned as Prime Minister in the face of abysmal poll numbers and quit to save his reputation electorally and maybe give his party a chance in the election. It almost reminds you of someone else from today. The Progressive Conservative Party shot up in the polls a decent amount, with Gallup showing they had gone up 8% after Mulroney's resignation announcement. Many polls were conducted with the assumption that Kim Campbell would become Prime Minister, which she did. Polling was quite wonky around here, apparently showing that PC support almost doubled when Kim Campbell was the leader, which is just a little weird in my opinion, but I think we can all get the general vibe that the PCs became much more popular after their unpopular Prime Minister quit. Kim Campbell did enjoy a honeymoon period after she assumed the office of Prime Minister, with the gap between her party and the Liberals being only 5 to 10 points, and she even led a few polls right at the start of the campaign. But if you know anything about Kim Campbell, I'm sure you are aware of how the 1993 election ended. The Progressive Conservative Party got crushed beyond repair, and the party ended up finishing with only 2 seats. We also have data from 1984, when Justin Trudeau's dad, Pierre Trudeau, resigned in the same fashion as Trudeau the Younger. The polls had shown a very bad situation for Pierre Trudeau, and he resigned, and after that, the party shot back up in the polls, and John Turner also enjoyed a decent lead after he became PM before the election. But during the campaign, things went back to a similar pre-resignation setting, and Turner lost handedly. Based on historical data, which shows that some form of honeymoon is to be expected, the Conservatives are actually weathering this honeymoon period better than things could be at the moment. Again, a lot has changed between 1984 and 1993 and 2025, between polling methods, social media, and the political landscape. But even if the data might not be able to be looked at in the same way, we can still get the general vibe that things did change for a while before the campaign. Now, does this mean that the situation will for sure follow that exact same time frame? No. But does it teach us to anticipate a honeymoon period for a bit? Yes. It's just whether that honeymoon is the lead shrinking to 15%, 5%, or a Liberal lead. In terms of current polling, a 20% lead is still a crushing win for Poilievre's Conservatives, and in reality is just the polls going back to about what they were before Freeland's resignation. Also, working in the Liberals' favor is the fact that the NDP could also be looking at a just terrible showing. The latest Leger poll had them at 16%, which would easily put them at under 20 seats. If the NDP were performing better, that would add another hindrance to the Liberal Party's ability to see some form of electoral recovery. It will also, unsurprisingly, be important to see who actually wins. As of now, Carney is probably the frontrunner, and the one who, according to Angus Reid, is the one who is in the best place to take on Poilievre in an election. But Freeland is also still in this leadership race, and if she wins, she could try and position herself as the best person to negotiate with Trump, given her prior experience, which is basically what she's doing in this leadership race. But what do you think? Do you think Poilievre has a tougher fight ahead of him than previously anticipated? Let me know in the comments, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as that helps me out a lot. But apart from that, have a good rest of your day, and see you.